Miami Heat fans gave LeBron James a standing ovation during a video montage in his first return to Miami since leaving. Andy Varejao of the Cavaliers is out for the rest of the season due to a torn Achilles. And Andrew Wiggins made a statement in his game on December 23rd versus the Cavaliers. All these subjects and more next on the Best Damn Sports Blog. Welcome back to the Best Damn Sports Blog. Back again after our long hiatus. This time to talk NBA with you guys. Specifically, the Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers are the topic of today following their Christmas Day matchup in which LeBron James had his first return to Miami since deciding to rejoin the Cleveland Cavaliers. And this was a great game. Miami led a lot in the beginning. Cleveland fought back in the second half, but Miami was able to pull away in the fourth to come away with the 10-point victory. Dwayne Wade had 31 points. Luol Deng had 25 points. And Miami, they got the job done. 101-91 victory over the Cavs, which is surprising since Miami was coming off an embarrassing loss to the Sixers in which they blew a 23-point lead. I expected Miami to get blown out in this game. But LeBron, he clearly had some butterflies in his stomach before this game started. And that's pretty much expected in his first return since leaving Miami. This was a team that he gave his all for 4 years. 2 rings out of it. 4 finals appearances. That's a great 4-year run. So the Heat will always hold a special place in LeBron's heart. But enough of the small talk. Let's get to the game itself. Now LeBron, although he did seem nervous in the beginning, he was still able to reel off 30 points, 8 assists, and 4 rebounds on 9 of 16 shooting, which is pretty efficient. So LeBron, he had a good game. Kyrie Irving as well, 25 points, so 10 of 19 shooting, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. But Kevin Love, he had a pretty much okay game on offense. 5 of 13 shooting, 14 points, just 5 rebounds, 3 assists. But on defense, Kevin Love looked lost out there because Andy Varejao, the things he does may not necessarily show up in the box score, but his energy, his hustle, and his ability to protect the rim was key to Cleveland's success in turning around their season. They are 12-4 in their last 16 games, which is pretty good. But the loss of Andy Varejao, that void has to be filled as soon as possible. Kevin Love is not the answer at center. Like I said, he's a terrible defender. Let's just call it what it is. Kevin Love is terrible on defense. Now, there are rumors going around that the Cavs are pursuing Brandon Wright, who was recently traded to the Celtics, and are also pursuing Brook Lopez, who the Brooklyn Nets have said is up for sale. I think the Cavs, they need to figure out how to get one of those big men as soon as possible. As currently constructed, without Andy Varejao, this team will give up points in the paint at will. Dwayne Wade was getting to the rack at will against the Cavaliers on Christmas Day. Any player who can create off the dribble will get to the basket at will on this currently constructed Cavs roster. Kevin Love cannot play center. Tristan Thompson is all right at center, but I prefer him coming off the bench at the power forward position because starting him now weakens their bench. So they need a big man as soon as possible. Yes, they have Brendan Haywood, but like I said, I don't think he's played all season. And throwing him into the fire, I think, will not benefit the Cavs at all because he's just not that good. Let's just face it. He's not that good. This Cavaliers team is 17-11 and sits in 5th place right now in the Eastern Conference. And through 28 games, I'm surprised. I thought they would be closer to 20-8 than 17-11. Now, that's not really that big of a difference. But the Cavs have not been dominant how we expected them to be dominant. They have not been as exciting to watch as I expected them to be. And I don't understand quite why yet. Yes, it's still early and players are probably figuring things out still, how to play with each other. But Kevin Love is not a superstar. And so far, he has not shown that he's a star while being a member of the Cavaliers. I mean, he's averaging 16.8 points on 43% shooting. And Kevin Love, this is not his fault, but I don't see him getting any touches in the paint. I see Kevin Love posted at the three-point line, and he's starting to look like a glorified Ryan Anderson. Now, this could be the fact that Kevin Love really just isn't that good. And people were blinded by the 26-13 he averaged in Minnesota, despite not realizing they didn't get to the playoffs with his 26-13. And that's the problem that people have nowadays. They see stats and they get blinded by them. You all have to understand stats on terrible teams can be misleading. Somebody has to score the points for every team. I'd say every team averages around at least 85 a game. So even the Sixers, they're going to have players that average close to 20. Does that mean they're good? Or does that mean they're filling out the stats that are necessary in a basketball game? Because I would argue that's what Kevin Love did in Minnesota. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong, he's a good player. Probably a top 10 power forward. Maybe top 5. I would have to sit there and count out the power forwards and think on it. But the point is, Kevin Love is not great. And that's what ESPN and the media was selling us prior to this trade. And that makes me bring up Andrew Wiggins, who just played against the Cavs for the first time the other day. And I have to say, he looked great in that game. I think he had that date on his calendar circled, marked, and checked off, ready to go against the Cavaliers to prove a point to LeBron James, which I think Andrew Wiggins did. He proved he was legit. He put up a good 27 points on the Cavaliers, had a nice dunk in which LeBron made sure he got out the way. A nice finish at the hole when he spent off Kyrie Irving. Like Wiggins, he pulled out all his tricks in that game, and he made a statement with those 27 points. And I bet you a lot of Cavs fans were left wondering, why did we trade him for Kevin Love? And let me remind you, I was the first to say, don't trade Kevin Love for Andrew Wiggins. Wait it out and try to sign Love this summer, because the Cavs possibly could have landed Love this summer anyway. But it was LeBron's decision to get rid of Andrew Wiggins, which I think had a little bit to do with jealousy, because when LeBron's 36, Andrew Wiggins will be 25. And I think LeBron thought about that, and he didn't want to live in a shadow possibly of an up-and-coming star in Andrew Wiggins. Now, don't get me wrong. I think he wants to play with K-Love and wanted to play with K-Love and thought that this would work out. But I'm here to tell you now, as constructed, I don't see this Cavs team doing much come NBA Finals or, on the Finals, come playoffs. I think Chicago is a legitimate threat, and I think they are the best team in the East. Jimmy Butler's improvement to his offensive game, averaging over 20. He's got most improved player wrapped up right now. Jimmy Butler is a legit scorer in the NBA now, and I never thought I would say that. I thought he would be an improved scorer, but 20 a game, and not to mention he's a great on-ball defender. Yeah, I'll take the Bulls. As long as Derrick Rose is healthy, the Bulls are the team to beat out East. This Cavs team struggles on defense. Their offense is up and down from night to night. And LeBron James, I'm going to just call it like it is. He seems to take nights off, plays off on defense, and you can't lead that way. You got Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, who have never seen the playoffs before, following his lead. LeBron has got to learn how to be a better leader of men and show these younger players such as Dion, Kevin Love, how to play night in, night out, play in, play out. There are too many times that LeBron James, say, misses a jumper and is just jogging back on defense while the play is just ahead of him. LeBron has to learn how to be a better leader of men. And that's just the facts. And, I mean, since he's going to continue to ignore David Blatt's coaching and coach himself, the least he could do is be a great player coach and lead by example, showing heart on every play. Now, all of this is not on LeBron James' shoulders. But this Cavs team is a good team. And because they're in the weaker Eastern Conference, they will be a threat come playoffs. But to be as potent as possible, I think the Cavaliers, they need to start getting a little more athletic. If you think about this Cavaliers roster, outside of LeBron James, there's really not that much athleticism on this team, and LeBron's athleticism has even taken a step backwards. This team is unathletic, which contributes to their poor defense, especially on the wings. Now, Dion Waiters is showing much more improvements on defense, showing much more heart on defense. But the fact of the matter is, they could use Andrew Wiggins' athleticism right about now, especially on the defensive end as well. And they also had to fill the void of Anderson Varejao's injury, which has caused him to miss the rest of the season, a torn Achilles. The Cavaliers need another big man as soon as possible. And when I say as soon as possible, I mean today, tomorrow, this weekend, something. Because if this team continues as constructed, expect them to give up 60-70% field goal percentage in the paint. And also, if a player can create off the dribble, just know that player will be getting to the basket at will until the Cavaliers sign another rim protector.